Hey guys, Diener here. Just wanted to put together like a small little intro Discord video for y'all. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot here, honestly, but it does look a little confusing kind of at first. So I thought it'd be helpful to just see a little bit of the kind of the basics. There's some pretty cool things that we can do with it. Like for example, there's ways for like me to put bots in here that can like scrape off the Yahoo website and like grab, for example, like standings or matchups of the week or most point scored or something like that. I know it's a possibility. It's a little advanced, but that'll be for me to kind of play with probably over the year here. So right now it's very basic. There's not a lot to it. I'll be adding more. If you guys got suggestions, feel free to throw them out there. Um, Discord has quite a bit of capabilities. It's just building it out it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of modifications, and it'll be sort of an ongoing project, I think, for while we continue the league. So, with that said, let me kind of share my screen now. I think you guys can see it. So, when you first log in, on the left here, you're going to kind of see on my screen, for example, and by the way, I'm on my desktop. Phone is going to be very similar. Like the options and stuff are pretty much exactly the same. And I just realized I don't think you guys can see my screen, so let me make sure I can do that. Okay, now I think you guys can. So on the left here, what I meant is you're going to see that I kind of have a lot. I'm in a lot of Discords, and ultimately, you're going to probably have probably just this icon is my guess. And so, you're going to see kind of this icon. This is where our league lives. If you join other Discords, you will get other icons. You can't put them like in folders. So if you really do get into this, like I have certain folders for different video games and things that I'm in. But ultimately, that's kind of the beauty of it. So you're going to see this. There's a lot of things here, and it's going to look a little overwhelming. But the crux of it is that each hashtag is basically a different channel. And the hashtags are just text channels. There's no voice or anything like that in it. Um, and ultimately, this is like where you can type. Now, the first three, you guys will be restricted from typing. Really, this is just more info. So there's not much you need to do here or even know for the most part. If you're curious on what each channel does, like I put a little like overview here. Announcements, like I'll use this, for example, to like announce like like the draft dates or maybe trade deadlines or just other stuff that kind of happens throughout the year. So keep this on. And what I mean by that, actually, I'll jump to that now. Any of these channels, of the hashtag channels, you can right click, and if like you don't want to hear from this channel at all, you can mute it, you can turn off notifications. I probably have a few more options here than you guys because I'm the owner of the Discord. But point being, like, let's say you don't give any shits about March Madness, you can decide basically, turn it off. I don't want to hear anything from it, and then you won't get cluttered with that chat. And the beauty of that is, I heard from a couple people like, it's been 7 days since I really looked at the messenger chat. Now I have 85 messages I have to go through, and I can't find, Diener's poll he threw up or this or that. And so, kind of having it organized like this, and you being able to turn off certain things, I think will be helpful. If you kind of don't really care about that certain channel. It does take us a little bit of discipline, I think, to make sure you're posting in the right place. But ultimately, it's kind of basic. Like, I don't think we're gonna be struggling that much. Most of our stuff is probably gonna go to this general chat, and so probably a good time to kind of go over this. So this is the general chat here. And ultimately, there's a lot of things you can kind of do down here. You can throw out GIFs if you want to throw GIFs. Like you can, take a picture and throw it in here. And I kind of did that with the memes and GIF here. Like I just took this from online, literally dragged and dropped it into the chat and posted it. And you can also call out people. So like, for example, you'll see I have it at Kyle here. You don't have to do this when talking to people, but the beauty of it is it just calls them out, right? So very similar to like, for the people that use any kind of Slack or like Teams for work, you need to call out someone specifically. This kind of helps. And so, and you can have a little fun with it too, ultimately. On top of it, you can add like reactions to it. So I'm going to have quite a few here because I am a pretty heavy Discord user. I think to kind of get the advanced ones, you have to upgrade, and it's very cheap. But ultimately, there's a lot here. So, if you, for example, like this message, you could, do something like that. Again, I just have picked a lot of these up through the bajillion Discords that I've joined. But ultimately, and then you can add a different one. Let's say you want to add another one on top of it. You could totally do that. And then if someone likes mine, for example, they can also just add to it. So long story short, you can do a lot of emoji stuff here. That's kind of fun. Um, you will also know that certain messages I will pin as time goes on, and so like those will be at the top of the channel. So like for example in the rules, I can post whatever I want here for you guys, but you can see that like a pinned message is an important message, and you can just hit pinned, and you'll see kind of like the messages in that channel are important. So like if I say something in general chat and I need it to be sort of saved, you can hit the pin here. I don't have anything in here. I hope to not actually pin anything in here, but ultimately, just point being, you can see any pinned messages if the chat gets really long. So yeah, other cool things that we can do. So general chat, I just figured is like this is be sort of like our Facebook Messenger chat, sort of as it is. That's kind of how I view it. We'll see how it evolves. Trade talks, like if you are trying to trade a person and you want to put them on a trade block, for example, I thought this would be a good way to sort of do that and sort of separate general chat from trade chats. You might say I'm trying to trade someone, and then 5 messages later we're talking about something funny that happened in a game 2 nights ago or something, and so now I want to trade someone is kind of lost in the chat. So trade talks I think will be helpful, and the other beauty of it is we only got a few people signed up right now. Thank you for who have already done this. Please do so if you haven't. But ultimately, point being is you can directly message people. You might have to be friends with them first, and so there is like an add friend button here. But ultimately, if you hit message, for example, let's say Josh, it looks like I can actually message Josh, but like if Josh, wanted to trade a guy, and I'm like, I kind of want to do that. You can type to here Josh, and it'll just go to him directly instead of, or I mean, you can keep it in the trade talk too, but that might be easier too as you're wheeling and dealing. That way you don't have to have someone's number per se if you can't have it, or maybe they're traveling and their phone's not working, whatever. You can theoretically voice call them too on here, like it does have and video call features. So I mean, if you want to do that, that's on here too. So there's some options there as well. Sports betting, I just figured, with how big betting is these days, some people are into this, and I thought it'd be kind of a cool chat channel if anyone is kind of messing around with sports bets, especially on football days and things like that. It could be other things too. I'm not saying it needs to just be football in general. Again, just trying to make this a way so that we can all, keep in touch. I think it's a good way for all of us to do it, and our lives are busy. So rule change and proposals, I think we always struggle each season. Someone wants to say let's consider this next year, and then we talk about it, and then it kind of goes like into the fray. So I think we can talk about it in real change proposals, and then I think, or general chat, and then drop a line in here, and then I think as the year goes on I can collect them all. At least now they're in one single spot, and then we could literally vote on it, right there and then. So like other things too, like when we do all the rule changes each year, I'll probably run all the polls in here, and you guys can do a poll too if you want. In these channels, you can just hit this little plus button and hit create a poll. You can also upload files if you have like a file you want to upload. Like Kyle put out some really cool statistics, a couple years ago. He could just throw it right in here, and so that was kind of cool. Create poll, and you can just literally make a poll. So I won't be using like SurveyMonkey, which is really nice. It's not that hard, but again, just trying to have everything in one place. Just honestly, it's a little easier for me, and I think it'd be nicer for all of us on top of it. Memes and GIFs, again, you can post anything here. If you like it, you can kind of see a couple people put some funny shit here, and then random funny shit. I don't know. We'll see how the chat channels go as time goes on. They might change. Maybe we don't use some of them. Doesn't matter. We'll see how it evolves, and I'll clean it up. And then I put other sports here. And again, this will be probably useful for people like you see some basketball stuff here. If you don't care about basketball at all, just totally mute the channel and no notifications, and you won't ever hear or see this channel ever. You'll see the channel, but you won't ever hear from it ever again. And so that's kind of the nice thing, that like if we want to have a conversation on it, but you don't want to see 85 messages and scroll through, we can do that. And then the last thing I'll kind of point out here is these two down here. So chillin', you'll see that these now have a different thing on the side here. They're the audio thing. So if you click it, and again, this is similar on your phone, you can join them from your phone. You'll see like your dot basically gets into this channel. And at this point now, if you have sort of your camera turned on or your mic turned on, you can talk in this channel. And so like, for example, we will definitely probably do our draft in Discord this year, assuming no one has any issues with it. Again, I don't have to worry about Doug setting up like a private Zoom and he's coaching, and and then maybe the Zoom shuts down because someone leaves and someone can't get in because the link's not working. Whatever it is, if you're on Discord, you just pop into this channel. You can turn your video on if you want, so we can see each other and all that kind of stuff. And then you also have your mic here, so very similar. You might have to do a little config of like that. If you're on a phone, it's super simple. It defaults to your normal, iPhone camera, and or if you have an iPhone or Google or Android, whatever you got, it'll default to that. And then your microphone. So on a phone, it's actually much simpler. If you're going to join from a computer, there might be like a small little setup. So the last thing I'll kind of point out here for just like the voice chat, this Chris thing is super nice. I would always have it on. Basically what it does, if you're eating like a bag of chips or something and there's something else or like someone's vacuuming behind you, it'll drown out that noise, and it's really good actually. And it basically will just only capture voice. And so it does a really good job. I suggest putting it on and just keeping it on. I don't think it really affects anything. And a good thing to add on. The last thing I'll kind of point out here is the share your screen. If you're on a computer, I think you can do this on a phone too. I'm not 100% certain on that one, but share your screen. You can, if I wanted to share, for example, the game that I'm watching that day, or a funny YouTube video, and I'm sitting with you guys in a channel and you want to watch it, like I can share my screen literally. And so now you can't. It's this thing here. So like I have a YouTube video up. You'd be able to see like my YouTube video that I want to share you guys while we're kind of chilling on the channel. Again, I'm assuming like this might come useful maybe on Sundays. Maybe we're just shooting the shit and you're sitting on the couch, watching games anywhere. You pop on, you see a couple people on, you say, hey, what's up? What are you watching? You kind of catch up with people. 10, 15, 30, 4 hours, whatever, and we do that. Maybe we have Lions parties in here. I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting, and we'll see. Hopefully, it'd be kind of cool if I think we get to communicate a little bit more kind of through this. And then just to stop stream, you can do that. But yeah, this is kind of like the basics. And then again, on your phone, you have the turn off mic. So if you want to mute yourself for a second because you're talking to your wife or your kids or something, you can do that. Deafen, that means you can't hear anything. You can't hear anything on the chat, and you can't talk. So, maybe you got to walk away for a second, but you don't want to necessarily leave channel, but you don't want to have everyone hear what's going on. You can deafen it. And there's some other cool things here. Play around with it. It's pretty neat. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be worthwhile. I truly don't think so. Just to show you guys, like if I turn on my camera here, this might screw up because I'm using it on multiple sources. That's not going to work. But you get the point. The camera works. Yeah, I think that's pretty much Discord in a nutshell. Your direct messages will be up here on the left. So if like Josh does message you for the trade, you'll see those through direct messages. You won't see those through the Real Rochester Discord channel. Yeah, I think that's it. And then to get out, you just hit disconnect, and you're out of the voice chat. Make sure you're out of the voice chat, obviously. And again, if you're doing it from a phone, it's pretty simple. You shut down the app. You're out of the chat. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Discord. Hopefully it was helpful. Try to make it kind of quick. There's a lot of cool things there. We'll see how it goes. If you guys got suggestions, I'm open to them. But yeah, I'd really like to move everything here. I think it'll just be easier for me, for you guys. Hopefully it keeps us a little bit more connected. I think that'd be kind of cool as time goes on. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting. And worst comes to worst, I think just having some organization helps a lot. So hope everyone's doing well, enjoying spring here. Summer's kind of right around the corner, and look forward to drafting this year. We'll probably draft similar, I'm assuming, in terms of dates and all that good jazz. So hope you're all doing well. We'll talk to you soon. Diener out.